Welcome to Design of Machine Element 2, second module. In that last topic is springs. So we have to design springs for different application, and based on application we have to select particular type of springs. A spring is nothing but a machine element, so elastic machine element which deflects under the action of a load and returns to its original shape when the load is removed. So this is the main definition of spring. So it deflects under the action of load and returns to its original shape when the load is removed. It's nothing but it possesses elastic property, so that's why it's one of the important machine element. So that's why spring has a huge application in engineering application. It can take any shape uh, and form depending upon the application. So some of the important function and application of springs are, so you might be knowing springs are used to absorb shock and vibration. So main example that is we have using springs in vehicle suspension springs. Similarly, railway buffer spring in elevators, and vibration mounts for machineries. Springs are used to store energy, not only absorb the shock, so it can be used to store energy. So spring, whatever example is springs used in clocks, toys, movie cameras, circuit breakers, and starters. So that is one of the main function to store the energy. And coming to the third important function, springs are used to measure force. That is springs used in weighing scale or weighing balance. So that is the best example, because there whatever the mechanical force that will be converted into whatever the deflection in the spring, so that will be the directly proportional, so that you can measure magnitude of the force. Then fourth one, springs are used to apply force and control the motion, so that also spring can be used to control the motion. So in engine wall mechanism, spring is used to return the rocker arm to its normal position when the disturbing force is removed. So that is the best example. So now you know about a brief idea about springs, because one of the key component in the engineering application. Now coming to the next topic, so that is types of spring. So we have different types of spring based on according to their shape. The shape can be helical coil of wire. So the most popular type of spring is helical spring. So you can see here in helical spring there are two types of spring. One is called compression helical spring. Second one is called tension helical spring. So you can find this diagram in your data handbook as well, from figure 11.1, that is from page number 168. The helical spring is usually made from wire, so usually cross section uh, maybe circular or rectangular. The most of the this type of helical spring usually having circular cross section, and which are bent in the form of helix, so that's why it is called helical spring. So we should know about something about compression helical spring and tension helical spring. As the name implies, compression means, so the whatever the helical spring that is subjected to compression force, that is external force, and because of this external force, the whatever the spring that will shorten, so that is called compression helical spring. The external force is acting of compressive in nature. Meanwhile, in tension helical spring, so what will happen? The external force tends to stretch the spring. So in other words, we can say that the whatever the spring that will elongate because of tensile force. In both cases, whatever the external force act along the axis of the spring and induces torsional shear stress in the wire. So that is one of the important, you should note that even though the spring is subjected to compression in case of compression helical spring, as well as tension in case of tension helical spring, but whatever the stress that induced in the wire, so you can see here, so this is nothing but wire, that wire is always subjected to shear stress. So that is one of the important note. In helical spring also there are two types of helical spring. So one is called open coiled helical spring, so another one is called closely coiled helical spring. So what is the difference between these two? The closely coiled spring, so whatever the helix angle is so very small, so we can say less than 10 degree, but in case of open coiled spring, the helix angle is more than 10 degree. So only few application of open coiled helical spring as compared with the closely coiled helical spring. So most of the springs, so that is of closely coiled helical spring. So whatever the spring, so that we'll discuss here onwards. That is usually closely coiled helical spring. So that is the one type of spring. The helical spring have certain advantage. It is easy to manufacture because the manufacturing of this spring is very easy, and whatever the manufacturing process and cost, that also very less. That is that's why these are cheaper as compared with the other type of spring, and high reliability of this type of spring, and deflection of spring is linearly proportional to the force acting on the spring. So that is one of the characteristics of helical spring. So due to all this advantage of helical spring, so these are most popularly and extensively used in various application. So this is another type of spring, that is nothing but conical and volute spring. So this also you can see from figure 11.1, page number 168. So you can see here whatever the coils, here it is each there are several number of coils. So that is in decreasing number of coils result in so increasing in the spring rate. So that is the one of the characteristics of these two type of spring. So both are almost same, the only change in the here it is the whatever the in conical spring, so it forms a cone shape, but in volute spring that is of paraboloid, so that is in nature. So this is one type of spring, so that can be used in some of the special application. And we'll move forward, that is third one, torsion spring. This spring may be helical, or we call it as spiral. So there are two cases, one is helical torsion spring, another one is spiral torsion spring. So this may be used only in application where the load tends to wind up the spring, and are used in various electrical instrument. So this is one type of spring. These type of springs are used in door hinges, uh, brush holders, automobile starters, door locks, because helical torsion spring resists the bending moment, so that is forced into distance, so which tends to wind up the spring. So because of bending moment, so bending stress will induce in this spring. So torsion only for a name, but the stress induced in this type of spring is always of bending in nature. So that is means there's nothing but bending stresses. So the whatever the uh, spring, it may subjected to tension or compression, but here the stress induces is bending stress. One more type of spring, so that is called laminated spring. We commonly call it as leaf spring. So it consists of a series of flat plates, usually in the form of semi-elliptical shape. So you can see here. So the flat plates, we call it as leaves, having or we call it as leaf. The leaves are usually held together by means of U bolts, and at a center clip. The longest leaf, we call it as master leaf. You can see here some of the leaf that will be long, so that we call it as master leaf is bent at the two ends and form a eye. So this you can see here, this portion we call it as spring eye. So the leaves of a multi-leaf spring are subjected to bending stress. This such type of springs commonly used in automobile and railroad suspension. So you can see in the uh, vehicles this type of spring. So that is nothing but leaf spring. And the last type of spring, that is disc or Belville spring. So these spring are consist of a number of conical discs held together against slipping by a central bolt. So these springs are used in application where high spring rates and compact spring units are required. In such cases, this type of spring, so usually we call it as disc spring. So that is one of the different types of spring. We have to know about certain terminology of helical spring. So that is you can see in this diagram. So there will be three diagrams. You can find this diagram in your data and book, that is from figure 11.1, that is page number 168. So the first spring, that is in the unloading condition, so that is nothing but uh, under free condition. So whatever the length of that spring is nothing but free length, and when you apply load, because under the action of a compressive load, the spring will compress. So whatever the compressed length, that we call it as compressed length. So there will be a deformation from the initial length to final length. So that is denoted by delta. So the free length is nothing but compressed length plus delta. So that is nothing but compressed length, and you can observe here. So whatever the coils, this is called a coils. The spring may be having number of coils. So this coil will not contact each other, but it may subject it to load. So such type of system, and whatever the length you will get, that is called compressed length. Similarly, the one more length, that is called compressed solid. So compressed solid length is nothing but the number of whatever the coils in the spring, that is nothing but in the helical spring, it should touch each other, so under the action of a compressive load, so that there is no further deformation in the spring. So there should not be any gap between the two coils, two successive coils. You can see here some of the gap, but there is no gap. Such type of whatever the length you will get with help of this type of configuration, that is called compressed solid. So such length we call it as solid length of the spring. We'll see some of the important definition So that will coming under this type of spring, that is helical spring. The first terminology is solid length. So solid length is nothing but when the compression of the spring is compressed until the coils come in contact with each other, then the spring is said to be solid. So already we discussed, because there should not be any movement, there should not be any gap between the two coils. So that is why that is called solid. That condition is called solid. The solid length of the spring is the product of total number of coils and diameter of the wire. So if you know what is how many number of coils are there in the spring, if you multiply with what is the diameter of the wire, so that will give you a solid length. The second terminology of helical spring is free length. So free length is nothing but it is the length of the spring in the free or unloaded condition. So without application of any load, what is the length of the spring? So that length we call it as free length. It is equal to the solid length plus the maximum deflection. It is denoted by delta, or compression of the spring, and the clearance between the adjacent coil, whatever the gap arises between the two successive coils. So that also determines free length. So if you add all the uh, three length, that is solid length and maximum deflection delta, and whatever the gap between the adjacent coil, so if you add all these things, you will get free length. Then coming to the third terminology, that is compressed length. Compressed length is defined as axial length of the spring which is subjected to maximum compressive force. So if we apply maximum compressive force in such a way that there should not contact between the two between the adjacent coils, so there must be a gap between the adjacent coil. So then whatever the length you will get, so that length we call it as compressed length. So that is about third terminology of helical spring. Then coming to the fourth one, spring rate. Spring rate is nothing but stiffness, or we call it as spring constant. It is defined as the load required per unit deflection of the spring. So that is nothing but stiffness load per unit deflection. So load is nothing but whatever the unit of this one is Newton per millimeter. So millimeter is the unit of deflection of the spring, and Newton is the unit of load. So that is spring rate is defined as ratio of load to deflection. So unit is Newton per millimeter. Now coming to the fifth one of the important terminology, that is spring index. The spring index is defined as the ratio of mean diameter of the coil to the diameter of the wire. So you can see in the diagram, here you can see, so this is the mean diameter of the coil. So if you see from the top view, so you can see the helical spring as a circular, you can see circular shape, you can see. So that is nothing but mean diameter of coil, and d is the diameter of the wire. So what is the diameter? Because cross section of the wire is circular, so d, small letter d, is nothing but diameter of that wire. So that wire is formed uh, wound in helical manner, so that is with the certain helix angle. Based on this, we have to find spring index. Spring index is nothing but is the ratio of mean diameter of the coil to the diameter of the wire. So mathematically the spring index is given by C equal to d by d. So d is nothing but mean diameter of coil, and small letter d is nothing but diameter of the wire. So this is one of the important parameter in spring design. So we call it as spring index. It is denoted by capital letter C. In the design of helical spring, so whatever, the designer should use good judgment and assuming the value of spring index. The spring index indicates relative sharpness of the curvature of the coil. So if whatever the value of for this index, if it is very less, say less than 3, the whatever the stresses in the wire are excessive due to curvature effect. So it means that whatever the value lesser than 3, so it is too dangerous. There will be excessive stress due to curvature effect, and such spring is very difficult to manufacture, and and so there will be a crack in that particular spring. In order to avoid, usually we have to use high index. So if you use too high, that also problem, so there will be a buckling of the spring also takes place. In order to avoid that one, the value for the design purpose is lies between 4 to 12. That is best from the manufacturing consideration. So in practical application, the spring index usually varies from 4 to 12. So that is you have to note down. So best range is 4 to 12. That is about spring index. Next one more, that is pitch. Pitch is nothing but the pitch of the coil is defined as axial distance between adjacent coil in uncompressed state. So that is what is the axial distance between the two adjacent coils is nothing but pitch. So that we have to consider in uncompressed state. Now coming to the spring material, the selection of material for the spring wire depend upon the following factors. The first factor is the load acting on the spring. So what is the amount of load that is acting on the spring? So we have to know initially. So then only you can select proper material based on load. You have to select. If the load is too more, you have to select appropriate material. If the load is minimum, so you have to select appropriate material. So that is the first factor is load acting on the spring. The second one is the range of stress through which spring operates. So you should know what is the range of stress through which the spring operates. So then only you can select material, suitable material. Third one, that is the limitation on mass and volume of the spring. Any constraint is there with respect to mass and volume of the spring. And fourth one, expected fatigue life, because we should know what is the fatigue life and after how many number of cycle the spring may fail. So you should know, because whatever the spring used in the walls, so it means subjected to million of cycle. So expected fatigue life you should know properly. So in order to select material for the spring wire. And fifth one, the environmental condition in which spring will operate, such as temperature and whether it is corrosive, atmospheric. You should know if these condition also plays very important role. uh, Otherwise the life of the spring will may changes. And coming to the sixth one, the severity of the deformation encountered while making spring. So if any changes in the deformation, so that also encountered while making the spring. So these are the factors we need to select, we have to consider while selecting the material for spring wire. So based on this, there are four important materials, that is steel wire, used in the spring in majority of the application. The one is patented and cold drawn steel wires. Second one is oil hardened and tempered steel wires and wall spring wires. Third one is oil hardened tempered steel wires, and fourth one stainless steel spring wires. These are the different wires, steel wires, based on different grades. So there will be a grade 1, grade 2. So grade 1 may be subjected to static or low load cycle. Similarly, grade 2 spring subjected to moderate load cycle. Similarly, grade 3 subjected to static springs subjected to moderate dynamic loads. Similarly, there are different types of grade. So usually this material subjected to certain heat treatment process also. So that is about material used for spring.